Hello everyone, what's going on? This is PokerStaples back, and today we are doing something that I'm super excited to do. I've been waiting a long time for it, and it is Jivaro Premium. It has been launched. Some of you have already picked it up, and I thought I'd do a quick tutorial, a quick guide on what's new in this version, what you can expect, how you can use some of the new advanced stats in your game. So without further ado, let's check some of it out. So the first thing you'll see actually doesn't involve any of the player stats at all, but it is called the Jivaro Command Center. And this is a really cool tool that keeps you up to date with the information in your tournament. So I just took a picture of a tournament I played this morning to make this tutorial. And you can see here, I'm going to overlay it on the screen. It has the tournament title at the top. It has the amount of entrants, how many people are remaining, and how many places are paid. Now, PokerStars has this on their software, but this is a little bit sleeker, easier to see. You don't have to do any scrolling or anything. So really, really slick and nice. On the left side here, you can see first place prize. This was a $1.50 Hyper Turbo. So in this case, it would be $6.26. The next prize, which is $2.50. And what we're currently guaranteed, which was $0. As you can see, there's 9 people remaining. Now that number in the brackets there, that's telling you how many people until you hit the next pay jump. So really, really important stuff. Like say you're in a big tournament and you're getting close to the bubble, you don't have to have the lobby up and take a look through and scroll through to see how many people are left. You'll be like, okay, we're 3 away, therefore I should adjust a little bit. So next is position. And then on the right side, now this is maybe not the best picture because all the stacks are the same, but it actually shows largest stack, average stack, and smallest stack there. So you can see the discretion in sizes there. Really cool, great piece of information that pops up over at the top of your chat in the bottom left corner. Now, if you want to get back to your chat, you can see the little X button there. That closes it out, and then you can chat as normal if you wish, of course. Those other buttons, those are for the stats we're going to start talking about now. Preflop, flop, turn, and river. You can switch between if you have to access something else. But that is the brand new Jivaro Command Center, the first update of Jivaro Premium, and I think it's really great. So let's get on to the actual stats now. So let's take a look at what the new HUD looks like. So I'm overlaying a picture here, and you can see it's actually covering the player name, which isn't really a big deal because it has the player name and the stack size right on the HUD now, as well as the big blind amount. So that's cool. It always stays out. The Jivaro ring is the same. You guys can refer to my previous tutorial about how that works. VPIP, preflop raise, and aggression frequency, the 3 most basic stats, the most used stats, are still displayed over the ring. If you want to see those stats displayed as a pop-up, you just mouse over the player and they show in number form. But of course, using the bars, you can see exactly how they are at a glance. So you don't even have to know exactly. You can see visually. So starting with the pre-flop stats here, I'm going to refer to the Jivaro tutorial. Now, they made this tutorial. I'm going to link it right below the video in the info section. You should be referring to this as you're sort of getting used to it, or if you're new to what these stats mean and what they can do for you, keep referring to this Jivaro help article, I guess, on what exactly is going on. So let's start with the pre-flop stats. The first one is 3-bet percentage, and this is my favorite stat. It's a stat I've used pretty much my whole poker life, and I absolutely love it because it changes the way that you can make decisions. It's amazing. So you're playing a bunch of tables, right? And you raise in the cutoff, and someone re-raises on the button, right? So if you don't really have any reads developed or you've sort of forgotten or something like that, it makes a huge difference if they're re-raising, say, 12% at times, as opposed to 3%. If it's 3%, well, they probably just have aces, kings, and queens. If it's 12%, okay, maybe there's something up here. Maybe they have some bluffs. So you should adjust your strategy based on how much people are 3-betting, and this is an easy percentage format to tell you, okay, they're really aggressive or not so much. They're more a calling type player. When they re-raise, they usually have it. So one of the first absolutely massively helpful tools. The second one follows with 3-bet, which is fold to 3-bet, right? And this is, okay, someone raises in the cutoff, and you have a hand like ace-jack. And you're trying to decide, okay, do I want to re-raise here or not? So say someone has a fold to 3-bet of like 95%, right? Well, you don't want to 3-bet your ace-jack because they're just going to fold. It's very likely the best hand. So that wouldn't make too much sense, right? But say their fold to 3-bet is like 20%. It's like, okay, so they're not going to be folding anything really that they raise, in which case we're going to re-raise our ace-jack. We might even re-raise wider than that. Ace-10, ace-9, ace-8, king-queen, hands like that. So that's another really useful stat. One of the most useful, I think, of this whole pack is that fold to 3-bet, because it really can dictate what your strategy is when you're determining whether you want to raise or just call. So check that one out. The next stat is cold call percentage. So this is just the percentage of times that when someone raises and someone's given the opportunity that they call. So it can sort of tell you how passive people are pre-flop. Following along the same lines of the 3-bet, another really useful stat. Okay, so a couple more pre-flop stats here. Steal attempt. So this is how often someone tries to raise when it folds to them in the cutoff, the button, or the small blind. So a really useful stat. If you're, say, in the big blind, right, and someone raises from the cutoff, and say they have a steal percentage of like 80%, you're like, whoa, okay, so they're raising pretty much every opportunity they get when it folds to them in those positions. So, your hand, like, say like ace-3 suited is doing really well, right? Now the other way, so say someone is stealing 10%, those spots, like, wow, okay, really tight. So they're just playing their cards. They don't really care about position so much. I should be a little bit more wary. So that's an example of how you can use the steal, and following along with that, fold the steal exactly what you would expect. How often are people giving up and just letting you sort of have it when you raise in late position? And how often are they sort of being a little sticky? So if they have an 85% fold to steal, it's like, okay, I'm going to steal the button here with my jack-6 offsuit. If they're not folding to steal very much, maybe 30% or something, you got to slow down, you got to tighten up your hands a little bit and play a little bit more straightforward. So those are all the pre-flop stats, 5 of them. They're all super useful. They're ones that I've had in my HUD for a very long time. So get familiar with what these things mean. And again, check out the tutorial that I'll link down below. It's really, really useful, and I know you guys are going to love it. But let's go to the flop. All right, everyone. We see 3 cards. We're on the flop. We have 3 more stats to talk about. The first one, continuation bet. So you raise pre-flop. Someone called out of the blinds. They check, and it's your option. Do you want to continue betting or not? That is the continuation bet percentage. And how you can use this stat is, say your opponent is continuation betting 90%. Well, it's like, okay, so nothing really changes from what they raised pre-flop. They have everything here, and most of the time they don't hit the board, so maybe I should attack that. Whereas maybe someone has a continuation bet of 35% or so. Well, that means they're probably being a little bit more selective with the hands they continuation bet, right? They're not just throwing everything in there, they're betting some of their stronger ones. Or maybe they're betting just their bluffs, but it is a very specific portion. So pay attention to that continuation bet. And following that, of course, fold to continuation bet. How often is it going to work against your opponents? The last stat is a really cool one, which is raise flop bet, right? So if you check, you bet, and your opponent raises, that would include into the percentage of raise flop bets. So how often are they playing back against those continuation bets? All three really useful stats. I will make a note here. You want to make sure that you have some hands against your opponents before you make these reads. 50 hands against them is not going to be enough information to go off. You're going to want maybe 200, 300. You're going to need to see these situations a lot before you can read a lot into them. Of course, one instance is better than none, but just be careful to not go, okay, 100%, that means this. You have to hedge your bets a little bit and take it into consideration just a little bit. To the turn. All right, we're on the turn. So turn continuation bet, same thing as the flop, right? How much do they continue betting on the turn, right? Again, you can refer to the Jivaro help article on this and sort of read all about it and see some examples and stuff. Again, that's linked down below the video. And fold the turn c-bet, same sort of thing. How often do they fold to that turn barrel, that second bet? And the last thing, aggression frequency on the turn. How much are they betting or raising as opposed to calling or folding? This is similar to what you saw in the basic version of the Jivaro HUD. Just this is specifically for the turn. So a really interesting stat. Again, check out that help video down below. And lastly, we're going to talk about the river. River bet, how often they're betting when given the opportunity to do so. and then fold to river bet, how often they're folding to that river bet, which, again, if you have a big sample of hands, if you've played a lot of hands with people, that can be really useful in determining, okay, so they're not giving up on the river. I want to value bet my hand. I have a second pair. I'm not sure if they have a worse hand or not, but they're always calling, so I might as well try. Whereas if they're folding almost all the time, well, they're not going to pay you off, right? So you need a really strong hand to bet in that scenario. And the last stat is river aggression frequency, which is the same thing as before, how much they're betting or raising as opposed to calling or folding on the river. And those are all the stats covered. I know we covered a lot, but again, you can check out that article down below and go at your own pace. It's okay. You don't need all these stats immediately to be a winning player or anything. They're just things that are going to help you make the transition into playing, say, more tables or understanding why you're doing what you're doing in poker. So yeah, that is my guide on the Jivaro Premium HUD. It is $5.99 a month. And I can't recommend it more. Again, with the Command Center, I would pay $5.99 a month just for that. But you add in all these stats. These are the stats that I've used my whole career, and I can't recommend them highly enough. So thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe down below, and check out Jivaro, link down below the stream. We'll see you guys all later.